You just spent $40, $50, maybe $70,000 on a brand new SUV. You did the research, you test drove it, you probably spent weeks comparing specs and reading reviews before you finally walked into that dealership and signed the papers. And then, 3 weeks later, you're sitting in a service center, waiting room, staring at a repair estimate that makes absolutely no sense for a vehicle you've barely broken in. This is not a one-off story. This is happening to thousands of people right now with vehicles that came straight off the assembly line. Transmissions slipping on the highway, screens going black mid-drive, brakes wearing out in months, safety systems triggering when they shouldn't, and in some cases, actual fire risk. Consumer Reports has spent years collecting reliability data from hundreds of thousands of real owners, not press cars, not staged test drives, real people driving these vehicles every day. And what they found about certain SUVs on the market today is genuinely alarming. Some of the worst offenders are names you trust, names you'd expect to do better, and that's exactly what makes this list so hard to ignore. We're counting down the 10 least reliable SUVs you can buy right now, starting at number 10, working our way to the absolute worst. Stay with us, because some of these are going to genuinely surprise you. At number 10, the Alfa Romeo Stelvio and its younger sibling, the Tonale. Now, Alfa Romeo sells you a dream, Italian design, driving emotion, the idea that your daily commute could feel like a mountain road in Tuscany. And look, on a good day, the Stelvio delivers on that promise. But here's what the brochure doesn't mention. The Stelvio has been putting owners into what's called limp mode, where the vehicle detects a problem and cuts power dramatically to protect itself. Sounds reasonable, right? Except it's being triggered by something as basic as a weak 12-volt battery, not a catastrophic failure, a battery. Then there are reports of faulty wiring harnesses, and this one is genuinely unsettling. Instances where the transmission dropped into neutral unexpectedly while the car was moving. The Tonale brings its own complications. The plug-in hybrid system, which should be a major selling point, has been causing headaches instead. The 12-volt battery drains on its own. Leave the car parked for a few days, and you might come back to a vehicle that simply won't start. Reliability score, 30 out of 100. Alfa Romeo sells passion, but passion doesn't fix a transmission that slips into neutral at 60 miles an hour. Number 9, the Ford Explorer and the Expedition. These are not niche vehicles. These are mainstream American family haulers that millions of people rely on. So when reliability problems show up here, it matters at scale. The Explorer, one of the most recognized SUV names in the world, has faced critical software recalls, including one tied to a transmission that could engage park while the vehicle is still moving. Read that again. Park while moving. The Expedition has its own chronic issues, cam phaser failures, persistent problems with the 10-speed automatic transmission, and internal wear that owners simply aren't expecting this early in a vehicle's life. Reliability score, 30 out of 100. For two vehicles that are supposed to represent dependable, everyday American transportation, that number is a significant gap between reputation and reality. At number 8, the Jeep Grand Cherokee. Jeep has been pushing the Grand Cherokee upmarket in recent years. Higher prices, more technology, premium trims designed to go head-to-head with European luxury SUVs. But owner experiences tell a different story. The Pentastar 5.6, an engine that's been around long enough that most of its problems should be long resolved, is still generating complaints. The 4X plug-in hybrid variant had a battery recall tied to fire risk, not a software glitch, not a cosmetic issue, fire risk. And real-world fuel economy is consistently coming in below what comparable competitors are delivering. Reliability score, 29 out of 100. Jeep is charging luxury prices for the Grand Cherokee. The reliability data says it hasn't fully earned them yet. Number 7, the Genesis G VAR 80. Genesis has been on a mission. They want to be taken seriously as a genuine luxury alternative to BMW, Mercedes, Audi. And honestly, the GV80 is a genuinely attractive vehicle. Beautiful interior, strong road presence, but in 2023, Genesis had to recall over 94,000 GV80S. The reason? A fuel pump defect that could cause fuel leaks. And where there are fuel leaks, there is fire risk. That's not a minor inconvenience you schedule around. That's a safety issue at the highest level of concern. Reliability score 29 out of 100. For a brand working hard to build its reputation on quality and refinement, a recall of that size on that flagship model is exactly the kind of setback that stops momentum cold. At number 6, the Volkswagen Taos. This one catches people off guard. The Taos is a compact, affordable SUV, European engineering at an accessible price. It's supposed to be the sensible choice, the practical one, the one that just works. Instead, owners are finding rear brakes wearing out well ahead of schedule. There are CAN bus communication errors, and if you're not familiar, the CAN bus is essentially the nervous system of the vehicle. It's the network that lets all the electronic systems talk to each other. When that misbehaves, you don't get one problem. You get unpredictable behavior across multiple systems simultaneously. Highway acceleration has shown lag that creates real safety concerns during merges. The DSG dual-clutch transmission, which Volkswagen has been using for years, is still producing reliability complaints in this application, and keyless entry failures on top of everything else. Reliability score 29 out of 100, small SUV, genuinely big headaches. Number 5, the Jeep Wrangler. The Wrangler is an icon, and I say that with complete sincerity. People don't just buy Wranglers, they identify with them. There is a community, a lifestyle, a level of loyalty attached to this vehicle that almost no other nameplate can match, which is exactly why what comes next is so painful. The death wobble, a severe, uncontrolled shaking in the front end that can hit suddenly at highway speeds, has been a documented Wrangler issue for years. The 4X hybrid system has been hit with fire-related recalls. There are oil leaks, roof leaks, hinge corrosion, and the fire recalls, those aren't quirks you accept as part of the Wrangler experience. Those are serious safety concerns. Reliability score, 26 out of 100. Wrangler owners are some of the most loyal people in the automotive world. They deserve better than this. At number 4, and this is the one that genuinely stops people in their tracks, the Mazda CX-90. Mazda has spent years earning a reputation as the alternative for people who actually care about reliability. Not the flashiest brand, not the most talked about, but the one that quietly delivers year after year without the drama. Consumer Reports has historically given Mazda some of the strongest reliability scores in the industry. So, when the CX-90, their flagship 3-row SUV, lands near the top of this list, it feels like a betrayal. Reliability score, 22 out of 100. The core problem is steering, specifically steering gear failures that have triggered multiple recalls that, in some cases, didn't actually fix the problem, prompting NHTSA to open a formal investigation. Steering boxes have been replaced multiple times on cars that are barely out of their break-in period. Mazda customers chose the CX-90 specifically because they trusted the brand. Those are the people leaving the most frustrated reviews. A 22 out of 100 is not a stumble. It's a full stop. Number 3, the GMC Terrain. The 1.5-liter turbo engine at the heart of the Terrain has been a persistent source of concern. But what makes the Terrain situation especially troubling is that the problems go beyond mechanical. They reach into safety system territory. The automatic emergency braking, the feature that's supposed to protect you and your family, has been activating unexpectedly, in situations where it absolutely should not be triggering. Phantom braking, on the highway, with no warning. And the sensor systems behind those features have proven unreliable, which creates a compounding problem. A safety system you can't fully trust generates unpredictability, and unpredictability at speed is dangerous. The gear selector has also been generating complaints. Reliability score, 17 out of 100. That's not a vehicle with rough edges. That's a vehicle with real questions around whether it behaves predictably when it matters most. Number 2, the Chevrolet Equinox. This one stings because the Equinox isn't just one of the best-selling SUVs in America, it's one of the best-selling vehicles in America. Period. Millions of families own one, which means the problems we're about to describe are affecting an enormous number of people right now who have no idea what's coming. The vacuum pump failures are the headline issue, and when those go, the consequences cascade fast. Engine damage, serious, expensive, sometimes catastrophic engine damage. Owners have reported being stranded in limp mode on the highway with no warning. Fuel delivery problems, repair bills climbing into the thousands on vehicles still sitting at low mileage. Reliability score, 17 out of 100. The Equinox sells on value and familiarity. But when the repair bills start stacking up, that value proposition collapses very quickly. And number 1, the worst rated SUV, according to Consumer Reports, the GMC Acadia. Reliability score, 14 out of 100, 14 on a 100-point scale. The brake master cylinder failures are the defining story here, and they're happening before 5,000 miles. Not 50,000, not 20,000, 5,000 miles. Some owners are reporting brake system failures on vehicles that are essentially still brand new, transmissions failing prematurely, people going weeks, sometimes longer, without their vehicle while they wait for parts and repairs under warranty, and this has now reached the courts. There are active legal actions against General Motors tied to these exact defects. A score of 14 out of 100 doesn't mean the Acadia has some reliability concerns. It means that, by Consumer Reports methodology, this is one of the least reliable new vehicles they have ever evaluated, from one of America's largest automakers. On a full-size family SUV, that is not a minor finding. That is a serious problem. So here's what all of this comes down to. Price does not equal reliability. Some of the most expensive, most recognizable names on this list carry scores that should give any buyer serious pause, regardless of how good they look on the lot or how convincing the salesperson is. Consumer Reports exists to cut through the marketing, to give you data built on real ownership experience, not press events, not paid reviews, not sponsored content. Before you sign anything, check the reliability scores, check the open recalls, read what actual owners are saying 12 months in. Some of the SUVs on this list could cost you thousands, maybe tens of thousands, in repairs that nobody warned you about when you handed over the keys. Now you know. Which one on this list surprised you the most? Drop it in the comments below. And if this helped you, or if it might help someone you know who's about to buy an SUV, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We'll be back with more.